For many of us, spirituality is just the quest to find essence or true meaning and to really just connect with a higher consciousness.
Welcome to the Bring Me to Life podcast.
Connecting with your spirituality is very important in this life. By becoming mindful of all of that, you can realize where you are and if that is leading you to where you want to go.
Listen to the little simple things, because it's those little simple things that are going to shift you vibrationally in such a way that will prepare you to become very intuitively minded and ready to step forward on the next part of your path.
I hope you can feel the love that's inside you, it's inside me, that connects us.
Hello, everybody. Thanks for tuning into the Bring Me to Life podcast. Shannon here, and I'm super excited to be introducing a guest who has a beautiful program to offer you. But before that, we want to learn a little bit about who you are and where you come from.
Hi, guys. My name is Suki of I'm a spiritual coach and a light worker. I've come here to do some deep healing on the planet and just following spirit and my angels along the way. Since I've been in the current job that I'm at, working with my angels, I have a blog that I created that has now become an award-winning blog. It's called Sookton.com. At the same time, I also launch a lot of programs specifically for light workers, for healers, for people who want to make a big impact on this world, including a program that I'm going to talk to you guys about today. And I also do a lot of community and events locally. I live in the Virgin Islands, in the U.S. Virgin Islands in St. Croix. So I do a lot of yoga events and spiritual events and really helping people tune in to who they are on a soul level and what they came here to do on a big mission and big picture kind of way. I also do one-on-one coaching. So I juggle a lot of things, but I always say that that as long as you're following your heart and you're following your soul, you're most likely going the right way.
I love that. It's so true. Many of us wear so many hats, and it really helps us connect with people on a different level. So the Bring Me to Life podcast, we really focus on kind of the waking up process and really what makes a person dive into the spiritual work. So you say you work with the angels, and I've checked out a lot of your content, and there's a lot of amazing things that you do. What put you in motion to really wake up and shine on with this area of work?
So I think that I've been connected to the angels since I was a child. I do believe most people who I call the angel folk have a connection with angels since they were young. A lot of the times what happens is we just don't really know what it is that we are connecting to. We know that there's a presence. We know that there's an energy. We know that we're energetic beings, and all of us are energetic beings, and all of us have angels. However, some people are just more able to tune into those angels than others. It's like a dial. It's like a frequency on the radio. So if you can turn the frequency and you can hear or experience angels in some way, sometimes it's hear, sometimes it's visual, sometimes it's smell, sometimes it's feel. Goosebumps and things like that. It's all because you are picking up on their particular frequency. And so the angels have been guiding me since I was a child, and I rejected it for a long time, from the time I was basically a teenager into my 20s, because I felt that I had to do all the things that you do to just be a normal human being. Mm-hmm. I was like, I don't want to have this gift. And I didn't think of it as a gift for a very long time. I thought of it a little bit as a curse, because they can be very loud and they can be very boisterous with me and in their communication. And so I always felt like, why do I have this? And I don't want it. I rejected it for a long time. And then it didn't happen until my late 20s into my 30s when I started to realize that as much as I was trying to force myself to fit into the things that you do in society, this 9-to-5 job, sitting in a cubicle and going out there and getting married and having kids and all these things that you do as a human, there was just something missing. There was just really something missing from my life. And I couldn't put my finger on it until I started working with angels again. And it all happened through a card deck by Doreen Virtue that my friend gifted to me. The minute I opened the card deck, it actually was a fairy deck. I still have it. It's messages from the fairies. As soon as I opened the deck, I just was like, oh my gosh, I am so connected to this. And this brings me so much joy. It makes me feel so grounded and so safe. And I remembered my childhood and singing to them. I would sing to the angels a lot, which is kind of funny because nowadays I do a lot of chanting. I use a lot of like Hindu chants and stuff like that. But I've always been singing. I call it devotional singing. In yoga, they call it bhakti. I've always been devotional singing my whole life. I just didn't know that when I was a child, I was singing to the divine. So I started communicating with them again. I've opened and awakened them back into my life. And ever since then, I've been on this trajectory of like really rising and knowing who I am as a soul. Which I think is part of the big awakening process, is just like, who are you as a soul? You know, forget about your name, forget about, you know, your status, forget about where you live. Start thinking about yourself on like a soul level. You know, who you are drives you from that fire, from that source. So that's how I got back into it.
Yes, I love that. I love hearing about your journey because I see a lot of similarities into the path. And I know as a child, I did the same thing. I pushed the angels away. And my family used to say I had so many imaginary friends that they thought I was crazy. But then really they realized that I was talking to specific energies like the angels, and they just connected. And I too waited for years. So I'm sure that many listeners have had that experience, and you can connect with them and maybe even help them build that connection with the angels. I saw you offer a angel messages session. Can you tell us a little bit about some of your offerings that you have as well?
Yeah, so when I do my, like, you know, I do angel messages, angel intuitive sessions. It's not just like your run-of-the-mill card reading. And I realized over the years that it's hard to explain to people. So that's why I love doing these kinds of things, so people can actually like hear, you know, what it is that I do. Because I might be pulling you some cards, but I'm most of the time channeling. And so I become like this vessel for messages that need to come through to you. And unlike some other people, other psychics, I'll say, I guess, who might beat around the bush or tell you some big vague things, or like somebody with the letter J wants to talk to you, because what does that even mean? You know, like most of the time people are like, what does this even mean? I might go straight for it. And an example is the last card reading I gave, or angel reading I gave. It was a lady who was going through divorce, and I didn't know she was going through divorce, and I just went straight into the love, and kind of right through the barriers, and she started crying within like 5 minutes of the reading. And I usually don't have such a reaction so quickly, and I said, I do apologize, because sometimes I'll go right into the heart of the matter, you know, like right to what we need to talk about. But I also feel that time is precious, and if you're gonna spend some time speaking with me, let's get to like what we really need to speak to, and let's like break down any barriers that might be stopping us from getting to what we need to address in your life, so that you can find some healing. Because really, like, the superficial stuff is not worth it. We just want to get right to it. I realized that I also do a lot of energetic level ups with my calls, whether it's a coaching call with me or an angel call. I do like a lot of level ups with you, meaning that whether I'm even cognizant of it or not, I'm kind of like just infusing energy into the call. And most of the time people will tell me, you know, that they feel something, that they'll feel a tingling, or they'll feel like energized, or they'll feel uplifted after the call, like immediately, because I'm doing that level up with you energetically. I'm kind of like, you know, I don't necessarily do Akashic records, but if I did, it would probably be something similar to that, kind of like tapping right in, like all the way in, and then kind of leveling it up. I do also want to say that I am a shaman. I have had training with the shamans from Peru, and that was the most like intense. I wish I could have more training with them, because they're so beautiful. Their energy is so beautiful, and I realized that when you're a shaman, once you're a shaman, you're always a shaman. So if you are a medicine woman, if you're a medicine man, if you feel connected to the earth and earth energies, the fairies, for example, like you were saying and singing to them, most likely at some point in your existence in this realm or other realms, you have been a shaman. And if you are a shaman, once you're always a shaman. So you don't need a certificate. You don't need to plaster something on your wall, because if you have it, you have it. So
It's just a feeling and a connection.
that's it.
I think that goes to something else. I can refer back to your website. You have a blog, and one of your blogs is showing up and embracing your magic. And like, once you know you're a shaman, it's not necessarily a training you have to go through. It's more of a programming of understanding and downloading what your mission here is. You talked about leveling up, and I always like to bring up this quote. I used to babysit this kid, and he could always tell when something was wrong with me, and he was a video game kid. So he stared at me one day and he goes, "What's wrong?" And I said, "Oh, it's just been a rough day." And he said, "That means that you're leveling up." And I said, "Well, what do you mean?" He said, "Well, you're not in practice mode anymore, because when you play a video game and you stay in practice mode, nothing gets harder. So you're ready to actually level up and take on the next challenge." So when somebody works with somebody like you and I, they have unlocked like that next level and that next beautiful mission, and the excitement's back in the game, and you're not just like walking around aimlessly, not really learning or doing anything. So
Yeah.
I love that.
No, I love to think of it as I do kind of think of it like a video game too. Like, I like to think of it when Mario, gets the mushroom and gets bigger and then jumps on Yoshi. Like, I'm Yoshi, you know what I mean? Like, I'm taking you to that level, because, there's only so much that Mario can do by himself. Now he's got Yoshi, he can do it to the next level. So like, when you find a spiritual guide or a coach that can take you on their back, they're going to take you to the mountain. But I always say this: they're not going to climb that mountain for you. At the end of the day, even if you're a Mario, you're going to get off Yoshi and you're going to climb the top, get to the top of the flagpole yourself, because it is your journey, not that of the coach, right? The coach is helping you get there.
I love that. It's just, it's part of the mission, and we all do need a little help to kind of guide us in the right direction. And then you find your mission, and like I said, you download that next step, and you help with that access. I love that. So you have a couple of other things that you're working on, and I know that you are excited to be launching or relaunching. You've already done this program once before, correct?
Yes, I'm relaunching it. It's called From Broke to Blessed. And it kind of came to me after a certain experience that I went through. I was traveling, and I was getting a lot of downloads on the travel. I was really like kind of connecting to its spirit. And I think that happens when you go out sometimes by yourself in unfamiliar settings. You start to like really just be with yourself more. And that energy was coming back to me. And so I had been doing a lot of work on my money mindset. And I had been doing a lot of work on like attracting money into my life. And when I do this kind of work, money comes in large and unexpected ways, large quantities and unexpected ways. It's not going to come in your traditional ways. It's going to start coming in some strange ways, which is exactly what happened to me, which is how I was able to afford the travel in the first place. But like, I came back and I got a message from a friend of mine her and I used to be very close. And she basically said in the message that she could no longer align myself with the stuff that I was sharing on social media and what I was doing in my business, and that I was coming from ego, and it was all about money and all about what did she call it? Spiritual. I forget exactly the term she was saying, but it was basically like ego based, and I was basically just trying to scam money out of people. And I was really kind of shocked by it, really like taken aback from somebody that had a lot of the same belief systems as me and was a good friend of mine. And for us to just kind of veer in completely different ways like that. But I always believe that, first of all, those who are no longer supposed to be in your life will remove themselves. You don't even have to remove them. They will remove themselves from your life. Mm-hmm. And especially the more that you level up and the more that you get so clear on who you are and what you're about, you can't energetically mix with people who are not on that same level as you. Or even if they're leveling in a different way, and your energies are just not compatible. So that's what happened. But I really sat with it, and I really said to myself, am I being ego driven? Am I being all about the money? And the more that I thought about it, the more I realized, no, I'm really not. What I'm doing is, as I'm learning, I'm teaching. So as I'm cracking some of these codes within myself, I'm helping other people break those codes too. Because when you said about the showing up for yourself and showing up for your magic, 90% of showing up for yourself is deprogramming yourself from old beliefs. Literally just deprogramming and saying, no, that's a limiting belief. No, that's an old story. My teacher always used to say, that's an old story, Suki. That's an old story. So when you can catch yourself in your old stories, the stuff that no longer serves you, the stuff that isn't even right. You can be doing something and you'll be like, I know that this is kind of dumb for me to still be thinking this, because it's a limiting belief. It's stopping me in my tracks. And I think that a lot of us as women have difficulty with money. I think a lot of us as healers and light workers and people that are making a big social impact have difficulty with money because we have old limiting beliefs, and this is from lifetimes. So you're talking lifetimes worth of
I agree. It's when they wake up too, it's like they think they have to lose everything to be this spiritual being.
That's it. The loincloth, the Gandhi kind of spiritual, give up everything, give up all my material possessions, be like a Buddha, starve myself. The Buddha might have starved himself, but he found that when he was doing that, it did not serve him, because he actually could not service the people, because he was too weak to even function. So it's just not true. He actually did crack the code of abundance and realized that he could have an abundant life and also serve in what he always called the middle path, finding that middle road. But yeah, you don't have to be broke. And so I started thinking about the word broke, and I started thinking about the word broken. And then I started thinking about the Buddha and how he sat under the Bodhi tree to find the enlightenment and recognizing what abundance was. And I work a lot with, Ganesh and Lakshmi and some of the Hindu gods and goddesses too. And they are in India very much about abundance. They actually give money to their statues. They'll actually put money at the feet of Ganesh or at the feet of Lakshmi and Shakti and all the different energies, to say God is abundant. We are abundant beings. And so so for when I was thinking about what blessed means to me, blessed means really just being in complete harmony with my soul, just really being a soul present being. So I call it soul guided, guided by my soul. And that's when the blessed came in. And so my program is 3 weeks long, and it involves live coaching, and it involves some experts that I bring on board that helped me kind of crack through some of this thinking. And it was really powerful. We had 8 people in the course last time. I'd like to have around the same, because I like these smaller circles. I feel like we can be intimate with each other. And it's throughout the course, it helps you start to really look at and deprogram these beliefs that you have about money. And one of the coaches said to me, this was years ago, she said, you like to say abundance a lot, Suki, but you don't like to say money. And I said, yeah, you're right. I hadn't even thought about that. So nowadays, I'm not scared to say money. I actually go straight to and say, we're talking about money. We're not just talking about abundance. We're talking about physical money, because we all deserve and need money in order to get from point A to point B. When you are doing work of the highest vibration, which is the kind of work that you and I do and people like us do, when you're doing that kind of work, you have to charge lots and lots of money, because your cup has to be so full that it is like a waterfall overflowing within you. And only then you can service enough people that you need to service. If you think about all of these people swimming in a big tidal pool, and they're all coming towards you and saying, help me, I need your help, you're going to drown. You're going to drown if you're not in good shape yourself. If you're not kind of up on your boat, And you don't have to, it doesn't have to be luxurious. You don't have to be a millionaire, but you have to make enough money to be overflowing and abundant. So I like to teach people how to go from broke to blessed.
And I want to talk to people that may not even be necessarily teaching a course or teaching from the healer perspective. I think this goes for everyone that's on the spiritual path or any path, an artist, a musician, somebody who's giving back to their community. They need to know that they don't have to feel broke and that they too are blessed, and that if you're somebody who is investing into a healer, it's okay to feel good about that investment into yourself. The giving of money is just as important as the acceptance of you deserve money, because some people have such a hard time. I know even I, a few years ago, I had a hard time spending like $300 on a course. And this course was several weeks. The person who put this course together, they had put a lot of time and energy. And now looking back at like the amount of just positivity and action it had in my life, it was worth every penny and more to invest that in myself. But when I first did it, I was scared, because to me that was like some other big investment into some bills for a few months. And the people that are giving, you might not even be at the point that you're ready to teach anything yet, and you might be at the point where you're investing in this course. I want you to feel good about investing into your healers, because like Suki said, like investing so that our cup is overflowing, you're also investing so your cup is overflowing, because you're not acting in a state of fear of investing into someone's program.
That's it. And scarcity. It's completely right. It has to do with, I always say, and I have it on my vision board right here in front of me, living your best life. Oprah is a big one of my gurus, and I follow her a lot, and she always talks about living your best life. So envisioning like taking a course like this and what it would mean to start having a better relationship with your bank account, having a better relationship with your finances, and having a better relationship with the physical form of money, so that you can live your best life, whatever that means to you. If it means to you vacations, then that would be it. If it means to you, dressing appropriately, taking care of your body, taking care of the physical form, absolutely. What does it mean for you to live your best life, and what would more money in your bank account feel like? So one of the things I talk about in the course, and I talked about on my Facebook Live that you might have caught, was about being a vibrational match for money. And a lot of the times, people will not ask for the amount of money that they deserve. So this is even just as simple as going to your boss and asking for a raise. And you've known that you've needed a raise for years, and you're still stopping yourself from walking in the door and asking for that raise that you know that you deserve. So perhaps a course like this, you spend the kind of money, like a couple of hundred, like you said, and you think, is this really going to do anything for me? And a week into the course, you walk into your boss's office and ask for more money. And it just so happens that it's the money that you just invested in the course coming right back to you. So it's like, it always comes back to you energetically when you're investing in the betterment of your soul, the betterment of yourself, the self-development stuff. It really is. I've worked with coaches where I'm like, man, I really can't afford this, coach. I don't know why I'm doing this, because I can't afford this. And I put the money out, and immediately the money comes back to me in some way, shape, or form.
And it could be this unique way, like you said earlier, like very unexpected. Like the other day, I invested in something I was unsure about. The next day, somebody's asking me to help watch their dogs, and I was willing to do it for free. And then they leave you like a tip for like helping. Like it's the most like random thing, or like you open a book and you find that you hid money in there for yourself, or something like magical like that. It always finds a way to return when you feel good about it and you act out of love and investment for yourself and your community, and not out of fear.
Yes, absolutely. Love driven as opposed to fear driven. I always tell this story about my mom, who she taught me a lot actually about the law of attraction. When I was a kid, she used to read a lot of like Deepak Chopra and self-help books. And I'd always be like, Mom, why are you reading that stuff? And she'd be like, because I need to keep a positive mindset, and when she first left my father, they were separated. I think I was like 13, 14 years old. She had difficulty paying the rent when we first moved to two separate houses. And she remembers that one time she was praying and she was saying to God, I just need $400 to pay the rent. That's all I need is $400 to pay the rent. She's like, give me a sign, show me how I can pay for this money. And she heard in her head, the voice like, look up. She said, what do you mean look up? Like, look up, like pray to heaven more, or look up in what way? So she looked up and she saw something like in the roof, and she goes, what is that? And she took a chair and looked up there. We had just moved in. And she moved like one of the tiles on the top of the roof, and $400 in cash came out.
Oh my goodness, that gave me chills. I was like, no way. Wow.
Yes, it was $400 in cash. So that you never know where it's coming from. And you really, I always say that it's really not about you knowing where it's coming from. Let go of where it's coming from. Just believe that it's coming.
I love it. I just love it because it's so true. It's so true. It's just so magical how things work out when you just believe.
Yeah.
So I believe in your program, and I want to hear more about how we can sign up and learn more about it. If someone has fallen in love with your energy, needs to learn more about you, how can they connect?
So my website is sookton.com. It's SOOKTON.com. And my program is going to be up there for you to sign up for. It's called From Broke to Blessed. You can click on the online courses and you can see all the other courses I offer. I offer some courses on angels, and I'm going to be offering again in a couple of weeks another course called Speak Right, Promote. That one was one of my more popular programs, so I'm redoing it again. And it's basically a way for you to level up and rise into the true expression of your being. Speaking what you need to speak about, writing what you need to write about, and promoting yourself, or basically showing yourself, because a lot of people hate that word promote, but like, how are you showing up in the world? How are you showing up to the people that need to be guided to you? So this is a great course for anyone really, but it's specifically even more so for people who want to maybe create a business or want to really kind of make a name for themselves in this world, this positive impact in the world.
Yes. So I hope everyone listening takes the time and really checks out all you have to offer. I love your website. It's beautiful. It's colorful. It's easy to navigate. It's got so much amazing content.
It's got a lot of content.
I love it. I could get lost in it for hours, and it's very just fun to navigate. And you also have the Suki of TV, where we did a conversation on crystals. So
yes, on YouTube, I'm on YouTube, I'm Suki Eleuterio on YouTube, and on Instagram, I'm Sookton. On Facebook, I'm Sookton Says. So Sookton and then SAYS, Sookton Says. And all the different platforms you can find me. But usually, if you do come to my hub, to my blog, you'll be able to navigate and find the different YouTube and all the different platforms I'm on. We had a great chat on Sookton TV about crystals, and it's funny because I've been getting a lot of questions about crystals from people, so I'm going to refer them to you.
Wow. Thank you for that. That was a lot of fun, and I really enjoyed that conversation. So I hope people check it out and see what else you have to offer there.
It is extremely informative, very helpful to me.
Beautiful. Well, thank you so much for giving us a little bit of your time today and sharing all of your beautiful knowledge and inspiration. Is there anything else at all today you would like to share with our audience?
No, just keep following your soul. Just keep listening to the messages that are coming through to you. Don't be afraid of spirituality. Don't be afraid of your angels, like you and I might have been for a long time, because there really is nothing to be afraid about.
I love it. That's a beautiful message to end on. So again, everyone go check her out at sookton.com. Check out her blog, her videos, all of it. And until next time, I hope you stay awake and shine on always. Bye for now.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to another episode of the Bring It to Life podcast. Wherever you're listening from, do us a favor and subscribe, like, and share so that you can show that you care and help another person that is waking up to shine on and find a community that will help inspire them. You can find more inspiring content, music, art, and more at bringmetolife.com. Thanks for shining on with us.